And now we've got a really cool one, which is like a kind of quite sustained, I've called it a roller bass. So this is quite like a repeating kind of melody. So let's listen to this first one, which is the Diva one here. So really tech housey, this one. And let's listen to it with the operator as well. So that was Diva then. Diva does, operator does this one very good. Let's listen to it with the Wavetable as well. Wavetable's also good, and Wavetable's very good for getting unique sounds, which I'll show you later. But let's first stick with the faithful Diva. Let's listen to it in solo. The kick. Clap. So you can see what this one's all about. It's about those sustained notes and with the glide as well. And it just sounds really fucking cool. So what I did with this one is I used the digital oscillators here. And then with just the, don't know what filter that is. I think that's the Jupiter filter. And then I actually used I didn't use that in the end. So you can ignore this high pass filter section, but that's the MS-20 high pass filter. But yeah, I chose the digital oscillators because I wanted to get this kind of like digital rolling bass sound. But in the end, I only really used one of the oscillators in a really basic way as well, which is the saw. But you can get some really growly sounds, and what you want from this bass sound is you want something with like a little bit of growl, so kind of like clean like the first one, but this time it's a bit more rolling. So it's not as like, it's not got as much funk and groove as the first smooth sub bass. This is more rolling, but you want that growly sound coming through again. And that comes a lot from the resonance and the way that the resonance distorts the filter as well. But yeah, with these digital oscillators, if we just set the mix all the way to the left and we just use this first oscillator here, there's quite a lot of different options we can get. Then when you use this knob here, which is like its modifier, so for example with this multi-saw first one, you can detune it. Sorry, you can actually use this multi-knob here and get like a respace sort of sound. Let's try this pulse one here. You can spike up the pulse. And also change the pulse width. So because this bass line is quite like, it's rolling and it's quite sustained, you know, there's no gaps. It's quite like consistent. You want to choose a good bass sound. So just for simplicity, I went for the saw. With this 50 harmonics, so you can hear that little bit of like mid-range come through with the harmonics. Let's listen to the track again. Just sounds really aggressive and cool. Obviously, if you want something cleaner, you can use no harmonics. But this is working kind of like the operator does. So yeah, you'll see later when I use the operator, it's also good for this sound. So yeah, starting with the digital oscillators. Then you want like a just under kind of medium cutoff. Really, it depends on how subdued you want it. It's up to you, really. Nothing too aggressive. Then use the resonance. And you get that like harmonic character, which sounds really nice. And then with the envelope, you just want it so it sustains enough so that the notes, when they are together like this, when they're all hitting one another like so, that it's the note is sustaining for long enough. Then you can, if you want, use a little bit of filter envelope. I've only done 6 here. Which is almost giving it like a little bit of a click. Because the decay time is so short, if we were to increase this, but to me that's not the right sort of sound. You want just something very, very consistent, if that makes sense. And then I'm using quite a bit of glide for this one here. And you can see that when the notes glide over each other, like that C at the end with that A, and then also, where else have we got it? Like here, the A and the G, it just gives it that like acid feel. So that's the sort of philosophy for this bass line. So again, I'm using some Saturn 2 for saturation. Just adding that little bit of growl, then of course sidechain compression. This EQ here is just to take out a little bit of the mid-range because we want it to kind of, well, quite a lot actually. Just helps it sit better, but you could go wider if you wanted to. But you don't want to take away too much because, or too wide I should say, because then you're going to get rid of the harmonics. I kind of like the mid-range in this one. Didn't use the tape. And yeah, you get that sort of sound. So that was with Diva, which sounds really good. Now what about Operator? Let's listen to that. What I've done now is, you know how I used the operator to create that sub bass earlier on? I used it in this mode here. Now we're actually using the operator in its traditional classic FM style mode. What this means is you can use the oscillators on top of each other to kind of influence the sound. So let's take this filter off for now. Okay, just a very clean sine wave. But then if we bring in oscillator B and we change the volume to 0, we're obviously not going to hear anything. But as soon as we start bringing the volume up, that's going to now influence this first oscillator, and they're going to combine and change the tone of the synth. So let's start bringing this oscillator up. And these are all just sine waves, by the way. But you're basically making it into another waveform just by changing the volume. So then you can use a third one to further influence the sound. This one's quite low in the mix, so it's just doing a little bit. But what I've done is I've also fine-tuned it away, so that now it's becoming a little bit greasy. If we increase that fine-tuning even more. So then, really, once you've set your envelopes, which are very basic in this case, just maximum sustain, then we can just get rid of that click and just clean it all off using an auto filter here. Same thing going on with a bit of glide, which is from here. And then if we play it with the track, you can probably do better melodies than me, but anyway, yeah, so you can create this roller bass sound using Operator very easily. Experiment with it in FM mode, just using this one here. Start with one sine wave, then add another sine wave in, but you have to change the level for it to influence the sound. The more level it's got, the more the sound's going to change, basically, so you can get a really cool balance that way. So last now, let's look at how you can create a roller bass using the wavetable. Let's listen to this. Again, such a similar sound, just slightly different flavor. Let's listen to it on its own. Now, what I like about Wavetable is all of the waveforms it's got. If we open it up here, you can see that there's so many different types of waveform categories. And then within those categories, there's all these different shapes, which you can then morph through like this. So again, this is the same sort of setup. We've just got a low filter, which is here. We're using a bit of filter envelope, but then we're using a sub oscillator with just this one oscillator here, which is called the Galactica. So this is the main harmonics of the sound, this Galactica oscillator here. And if you look carefully, you can see that the position of the waveform, so that basically how wavetables work is they can move the position of the waveform. So we can change this, and this is going to change the shape of the oscillator. And it's the same for each category. We choose something just basic shapes, sine, triangle, saw, square. You can like smoothly glide between the waveform shapes. Instead of just, choosing one or the other. And what you can also do with the wavetable is you can modulate that. So you can see I'm sending LFO 1 down here to the oscillator 1 position, just a little bit. And you can see that moves the position of the waveform. So it's basically like pulse width modulation, but wavetable. And that just gives this one a bit more of a unique tone. And I can exaggerate that to show you. But I've done it subtly here. And then what you can do is you can add a sub in if you want. Which is just a basic oscillator. But really now with the wavetable, you can choose lots of different sounds, basically. Let's try something from the vintage section. So there's lots you can choose from. Let's go back to what we had. So again, this is just a demonstration of how you can do it on another synth as well. Again, just some sidechain compression. I just used the Fab filter for this one just because it worked better. Again, with the track, you get this nice rolling sound. You know, with this one, actually, the sub works better when it's in the lower octave. So again, like, you know, they're all similar sounds, but you can see how you can go even deeper with them, take them further, and just create something slightly different depending on what synth you've got. But the basic philosophy of all of these is the same. Once you understand how to make one, then you can use any synth really to create it on that as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the Basslines, guys. I hope you've learned something from there, and out of those 3 or 4 styles, you can choose something that you like and try and develop it further and make it into your own. But hopefully you've got an understanding of how one would create these styles of bass within this genre if they were creating something like this.